With the season over at this point, Philadelphia Eagles are hoisting their Super Bowl trophy. It allows you to kind of have kind of really think about the totality of the season since it is now over. And you have some winners of the whole season and some losers. Now, obviously, the biggest winner is the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, the biggest loser is the Kansas City Chiefs because, they lost Super Bowl. So outside of the Eagles and the Chiefs in their Super Bowl, I want to talk about some winners and some losers. And I first want to start with the winners. This was a eye-opening year for a lot of teams, a lot of people, in a very positive way. I think the first winner has to be the running back market. When you see how integral Saquon Barkley was to the Philadelphia Eagles, when you see how integral Derrick Henry was to the Baltimore Ravens, when you see how integral Josh Jacobs was to the Green Bay Packers, when you see how integral Aaron Jones was to the Minnesota Vikings, all we've been talking about for the longest is how the running back position is dying because the NFL is turning to a pass-happy league. We've just been talking about it dying and that how it's I'm not going to say becoming obsolete, but because the running back has been such a depreciating position, it's been hard to hell. That's one of the biggest reasons why Derrick Henry is not a Dallas Cowboy, because they don't value the running back position like they would maybe the wide receiver or obviously the quarterback. And while, yes, I still think that it is a depreciating asset because the running back takes the second most punishment on the field next to the linemen. But again, Saquon Barkley I think if you total his regular season and his postseason, he has the most rushing yards by a player in NFL history for one season. Derrick Henry almost cracked 2,000 yards. I think he would be the first player in NFL history to ever, he didn't do it, but if he were to do it, I think he'd be the first player in NFL history to ever rush for 2,000 yards more than one season. Again, Josh Jacobs was the key for the Green Bay Packers. It was Joe Mixon and how important he was for the Texans. Hell, Kareem Hunt had a resurging year for the Kansas City Chiefs. From a market that has been dead, I think that the running back market saw a huge win this year because of just how good it was, how important it was, and just some of the records that were able to be broken or almost be broken by running backs. Saquon Barkley is probably the biggest reason why the Eagles got to the Super Bowl, because they rode him a lot of times. And on top of that, man, it was just a great year for running backs. So I think that one major winner is the running back market. Even the teams that didn't have a running back, you saw it was clear as day how hampered they were because they don't have a running back that is dependable compared to the teams that do. So I think the running back market was a huge win this year. And, the resurgence, I'll say, of the running back market was a huge win. Another huge winner, I'll say it, was Josh Allen. As much as I feel that Lamar Jackson deserved the MVP over Josh Allen, I still think that Josh Allen had an MVP caliber season. Again, remember, the narrative around Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills was this is going to be a down year. When you see a lot of the key pieces that they lost, both on the offense and defensive side of the ball, and they were key pieces. Like Stephon Diggs is a number one receiver on 29 other teams. So to lose someone like that, to lose key defensive pieces, and then replace them with not household names, you thought that this was going to be a down year. And while I'm not going to be the one to continue to push this narrative that he was playing with nobody, I think that James Cook is a great running back. I think that Amari Cooper, even though he played half a season, I think that he's a really good wide receiver. I think that Keon Coleman is going to turn into a really good wide receiver. I think that they have one of the best 1-2 punches at the tight end possession when you talk about Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. I think defensively they have one of the best defenses in football when everyone's healthy. However, the narrative that it's going to be a down year for the Buffalo Bills was roaring strong going into the season. Well, Josh Allen showed them. I'm not going to say he completely put the team on his back because he had help, but what I will say is the play of Josh Allen elevated someone like Shakur, elevated someone like a Keon Coleman when he was healthy, elevated someone like a James Cook, elevated Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. His play elevated the Buffalo Bills to the AFC Championship. Something that going into the season I didn't think was possible. Again, I do think that Lamar Jackson deserved the MVP this year. But I do think that Josh Allen had an MVP caliber year. And I think that the narrative sort of changed around him. Now, I think that there's legitimate people that will sit here and say, oh, no, he's the second best quarterback and it's not even close. I may not disagree. I may not agree, but you can't. Josh Allen was a big winner this year, winning the MVP, leading his team to the AFC Championship, especially after the offseason that they had, losing the many pieces that they had. Sean McDermott, he was at question. Josh Allen had a win season, so yeah. Another win is Ja'Marr Chase. Remember how loud the offseason was for the Cincinnati Bengals? We're going to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals as a whole in a second. But remember how loud it was when we were talking about T. Higgins' contract and Trey Hendrickson's contract and Ja'Marr Chase's contract? Ja'Marr Chase was he was holding out because he wanted more money, and rightfully so. He considered himself the best wide receiver in football. It was between him or Justin Jefferson, and the Bengals were not trying to pay him what he felt he was owed. Well, what did Ja'Marr Chase do? Ja'Marr Chase, there's two ways you can do this. You can hold out and, sorry for my language, half-ass and not play to your best. Or you could do what Ja'Marr Chase did. Go out there and not only leave any doubt who, at least this year, the best wide receiver is, but go out and get the Triple Crown. Most receiving yards, most receptions, and most touchdowns in the league from a wide receiver. Ja'Marr Chase had one of the best singular seasons a receiver has ever had. I don't know what's going to happen with the Cincinnati Bengals this offseason because a lot of the questions that they pushed to this season, or they pushed down the road, is here now. I don't know what's going to happen with T. Higgins. I don't know what's going to happen with Ja'Marr Chase, but I will say this. Ja'Marr Chase has left no doubt that you should pay them. If you had any doubt last year, in last offseason, if they should pay him, he has left no doubt that he should be paid. I do think that who is throwing you the ball, especially for a wide receiver, changed a lot. So I understand the people that still say that Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in football. He just doesn't have a Joe Burrow to throw in the ball. I get that. But if we talk about numbers, Ja'Marr Chase has a huge winner this year because he left no doubt that if you were ever even thinking about not paying me, here's a reason why you should. Big winner. Another winner is the Washington Commanders. From a team that was projected to be second to last in the in the NFC East, that had a rookie quarterback, that had a new head coach, that had new ownership, that had a bunch of veteran pieces that they just pulled together, to go from uncertainty, and I think they had 4 wins last year? Uncertainty to be a game away from the Super Bowl is a win. Now, yes, as a Commanders fan, I would hope that they'd win the Super Bowl and at least make the Super Bowl. But again, even as a Commanders fan, and for people that think I'm joking, as a Commanders fan, I'm true to this, my guy. I didn't even think that this team, at least this year, was capable of having the season that they had. I didn't think this team was capable. And I knew Jayden Daniels was good. I was excited getting Jayden Daniels out of LSU. I didn't think that he was going to statistically have arguably the best rookie season in NFL history. On top of the incredible year, yes, they didn't make the Super Bowl. Yes, they lost to the Eagles in the NFC Championship. There is a different level of hope. There's a different level of excitement that is around the DC area, that's around this Commanders team. Now you have people that once wasn't a free agent destination at all. Now you're hearing people are excited and want to go to the Commanders. The Commanders have some of the most cap space in the NFL going into this offseason. So while no, they didn't win, this was a huge win for them this year. They're one of the biggest winners of the year because they have the quarterback of the future. It looks like the ownership knows what they're doing. And again, a team that was thought to be second to last in the NFC East was a game away from making the first Super Bowl since 1991-1992 season. The Washington Commanders were a huge, huge winner. And my last winner is Lamar Jackson. To have the season that he had, being the first player in NFL history to rush or pass for over 4,000 yards, rush for over 900 yards, to have, I think, the 4th best quarterback or QBR for the season, to have, I think, the 4th best touchdown to interception ratio, or maybe 3rd best, something like that, to have the season that he had, and then you remember, how long it took for him to get picked in the draft and his scouting report. It's hard for you to say that Lamar Jackson is not a winner. Yes, it's crazy to me that with the season that he had, he didn't walk away with any awards in the NFL award show, but Lamar Jackson in my opinion, has left no doubt who I think the second best quarterback is. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes he didn't have a great season, and he had a terrible Super Bowl, but we're still talking about a 3-time champion right there. And even with a down year, still made it to the Super Bowl. But Lamar Jackson is a huge winner for me. He had, in my opinion, undoubtedly the best season for a quarterback. And while I do think he should have won the MVP, he at least landed on my winners list. Because, again, I know a lot of people take away from his success in his year because he had Derrick Henry and 9 Pro Bowlers and this stuff and this and that. But Lamar Jackson had one of the most, he was so good that he got Zay Flowers, who was the first wide receiver in Ravens franchise history to make the Pro Bowl. That's how good Lamar Jackson was. So my winners is the running back market, especially Saquon Barkley, Josh Allen, Jamar Chase, the Washington Commanders, and Lamar Jackson. Those are my winners for this NFL season. Obviously, there are a lot of great teams, a lot of great players, a lot of great storylines, but those are my 5 winners. Oh man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.